Hello coders! Hello, welcome to the Sunday stream. Hello coders, I hope you're all having a good weekend. As mentioned on the Discord server and also as mentioned on Twitter, today we're going to start the build, I guess, of the JavaScript Fundamentals course, the course that we've been discussing for the past, say, few weeks, the course that I've been planning for a very long time. We are going to work through the first section, and also I'm going to work through the structure of the course and the code and how that all sort of hangs together. Much like the design patterns course, we're going to be using MARP as a means of creating the slides. And as I've mentioned with the design patterns course in PHP, the Twitch streams that I'm doing here, they're obviously live, right? This isn't the actual course. This is me designing and building the course. Once I'm happy with all the bits and pieces, what I normally do is I will do a sort of a video, a clean video, and then edit that, do some post editing to that. I might do an overlay. I might do a sort of a talking head on the video. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. But the streams certainly aren't the course. That this is me developing the course, building the course up. So it's JavaScript Fundamentals. That's what we're going to be doing today. And also, I should say as well that we're going to, me and the pro users on the Discord server and the Twitch subscribers as well, we're all going to get together after today's stream on Discord, and we're going to have our first sort of voice chat amongst ourselves. So it'll be nice to hear the voices of the community, the people I've been talking to on Discord as well. So if you want to be a part of that, then please consider becoming a Patreon or a Twitch subscriber. That's going to happen after the stream, probably about 4 o'clock. So we got about an hour and a half to play with. Before I start, I just want to welcome the new followers to How to Code Well on Twitch. I want to start by thanking Math Wiz Liz, Gary Horn or Gara Horn, Oog, GL2, and Sarah Hat E7 for following. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Okay, let's get cracking into the code. So I'm just going to change to this view. Now this is the notes that I was taking when I was talking to the stream about how to structure this course. I'll just do a quick recap and then we'll get into the code. So it's a JavaScript Fundamentals course. The audience are beginners of JavaScript, developers who have never used JavaScript before, so completely and utterly new, sort of new to JavaScript. Therefore, no prior knowledge is required of JavaScript. The idea is that the knowledge will be gained from this for new developers who haven't tried JavaScript before. So you, however, need to have a basic understanding of HTML because there is sections in this course that require HTML knowledge. There's going to be projects as well, and we'll talk about those in just a second. Thank you very much, Derrid, I can't say the name, Derrid Prun, for following. Thank you very much for following. I do appreciate that. So no knowledge of JavaScript is required, and its complete basic understanding of HTML is required. Okay, the outcomes of this course is to gain an understanding of JavaScript, its syntax, and how it is used to build HTML applications. So this course is going to be centered around web developers, rather than people who want to use JavaScript for other things, such as mobile applications or doing other crazy things with JavaScript. And you'll be able to take this knowledge with you if you want to do those things later on. But this is going to be for building HTML applications. Okay, so a quick rundown of the sections then. The first one, we have the introduction. So I'll be explaining what JavaScript is. I'll mention that this covers the foundations and not advanced topics of JavaScript. So there are elements of JavaScript that we won't touch upon because they're quite advanced and they probably need their own courses. ES5, ES6, talk about tooling and debugging and the history of JavaScript. I think that's pretty useful, a good introduction there. Then we're going to get into the actual sections. Some of these are small, some of these quite beefy. So the first one is variables. This is something that we might be tackling today. Variables, how to do the assignments, operators, and scopes. Scopes being things like var, let, and const. The operators are how you operate against the variables, and the assignments is how you assign those variables, and so on and so forth. And then we get into the meat of the data types. This is the second section. So we have strings, numbers, arrays. With arrays, we've got creation, popping, pushing, deleting, splicing, and joining. There might be some others, and there might be others for numbers in terms of math. So this is kind of a working document, I guess. With objects, with JSON, you've got assigning properties, functions, accessing properties, and then reference versus primitive value types. Then we move on to control structures. So we have conditional statements like ifs, if else, else if, ternary operators, and then we have switches, loops, fors, and whiles. With the functions, I'm going to talk about creation, arguments, function calls, and obviously the arrow function. And then we move into the HTML and JavaScript section. This is going to be what is the document object model, what is DOM, and then selecting elements by class, by ID, by name and type, traversing the DOM, document object model, manipulating styles, displaying and changing the color. Okay, and then the next section is events. We're going to have event listeners, triggering events, preventing events, timed events such as intervals and timeouts, and how to clear those. There needs to be a clear interval in there too. And then we move on to the first project, and the first project will be building a image carousel. And I should say, I guess I should have said this beforehand, this is going to be this is not going to have any frameworks. There's not going to be any frameworks or any libraries on this at all. This is teaching vanilla JavaScript. So you'll come away with an image carousel, and then we move straight back into the sections, because you needed to have learned all of the above in order to create yourself an image carousel. Then we can move on to things like local storage, so setting storage, getting items out of storage, and cookies. Then we've got dates, we've got creation, the difference between dates, and then setting it to a string. And then we've got regex, so such as searching. Again, this is a working document. I could be adding things or removing things as I progress through this course. And then we have project 2. Now, project 2 is a form validation. So this is creating a HTML form and then using JavaScript to validate that form. Okay, so then we have finally the conclusion. So what we've learnt, NPM and external libraries. So these are like sort of signposting to that sort of discussion point. And then talking about promises. I'm thinking this is going to be perhaps the next course. And then what to do next. Sort of where to go from here. I think this will give you a good sort of fundamental knowledge base of JavaScript. That's the plan, anyway. Okie dokie. So let's see if we've got the code. So I'm going to just jump into PHP Storm here. Now, what I did earlier is I actually created the folder structure, as you can see here. So this is very similar to the folder structure of the object-oriented design patterns course that I'm currently working through, in the sense that we have slides, we have the dist folder, and we have the code folder as well. The code folder is where all the code will live. The slides will have all of the slides that I will be talking about, and much like with the design patterns course, we talk about the theory. It's basically every slide is broken down into 3 sections. You've got the theory, the explanation of what, say, control structures are. Then you have the theory, and then you have so you've got the explanation, which I guess is the theory, and then you've got the concept. So this is talking about this in a conceptual form, and then you have a real world example of a control structure of, say, a loop. Now, the beauty with JavaScript, of course, is that you can contain it all nicely in HTML, which means that this is the website of the course that one can click through. So in code, we've got the sections here, and obviously these are all empty at the moment, and we will be working through these on the stream. We've also got the projects, the two projects, the image carousel and the form validation. Again, they're empty, so we'll be building those on stream too. And then in the slides, we have a markdown file for every section of the slide. And we're using this fancy tool called MARP, which I've used before when I do public speaking. And MARP is fantastic because it can convert markdown files into PDF documents. And the thing that we're going to be using it for is you can convert it into HTML documents as well. So you can make a website out of markdown files. And we're going to be using that for the course. I guess what I'll do is I'll build this and I'll explain it as I go. So what I'm going to do, I've literally just done a git pull to load this up. We don't have a node modules here yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that down and then we're going to start that. So I need to go to View, Tools, and Terminal. And first of all, we're going to do an npm install. So that will install all the bits and pieces. Take a glug of tea. Okay, so we won't worry about that too much. Okay, so that should have installed MARP. So there we go, we've got the node modules here, and we've got all the bits and pieces that we need here. That's great. So let's see if I can do an npx it is. MARP team, that's what we're using, MARP. We're using the -w because we're in watch mode, -HTML, because we want to convert it into HTML. The input is in the slides folder, and the output is going to be the dist folder. That should be blank, empty. And we're going to call upon some CSS in the assets, which I don't think I have. Let me see if I can create that. Let's just do... I tell you what I could do is just load up. I'll load up the design patterns course, new window, and I will. So this is how it might look like, and I'll copy across the assets. I think that's probably a good idea, isn't it? Let's do that, because that has the CSS that we need, because we're going to, and some background images. That's all good. CSS is a means of changing the font size, which is great. So now I should be able to run this, and hopefully it's going to convert all of the slides, I hope, and it's going to create the necessary folders and the actual HTML files from the slides. And I'll just show you one of the slides. So if we go to, say, the index.md, the slide here, if we just close that down, this is what it looks like. So you create a slide like so with the three dashes, and whatever's in between is a slide. And then up here we've got the front matter that we can set variables and so forth. Okay, so that's happened. So hopefully now, if we close that, whoopsie, nope, open that up. No, that hasn't, that should have gone into dist. Why did that not go into dist? Okay, that's a bit weird. Let's see if I can, oh, there we go. It just took a little bit of time. So, okay, let's just close that. Okay, so now you can see that we've got all the dist files that have been populated. And in there we should have the HTML files, and that we should have a HTML file here, which corresponds to the index.md of the main one. So, which means if I was to load, say, I don't know, this one up, for instance, this is all the HTML that was created. You can see that we have a list here. If I open that up, we should, if I bring that in here, we should have, there we go. That is our slides. Let's open that up a little bit. Okay, so and on page 2, we now have all of the list of all the sections that we are going to be working through, and these are HTML links to the various other portions of this, or the various other sections. Now I think I've got a problem with some of these links that I do need to fix. So I think if I clicked on that, it might, they're variables. Okay, so that worked. Let's go to data types. I'm just going to go through all of these control structures. I've only literally got as far as creating the first page, the first slide, I guess, the introductory slide. Okay, so that's what was that? Control structures, HTML and JavaScript, events, dates, and regex. Okay, cool. So I've got a feeling it's this here, that the footer, that doesn't work. Let's go home. Yeah, that doesn't work. Variables. No, I don't think that's working. Data types. No. Okay. I've got a feeling there's something fundamentally flawed with that. I'm just going to have a little look and see if we can sort that out. So this would be slides, and we were on the index.md. This is obviously not wired up. Looking at this, I think what I need to do is I need to remove the slashes for that, I think. There's quite a lot of them, isn't there? Okay, and then and that as well. So let's hit save. And that should have automatically have adjusted this. So if I go to variables now, nope, that hasn't worked. So variables.index.html. Okay. Variables. No, that has worked. Data types. Has that worked? No. Refresh. Okay. Go back. It's probably because it's on the other. There we go. It's on the other thing. Now I've got a feeling I need to put, in fact, I need to do / rather than just slash. That's probably what I need to do, because it's working from the current working directory. If you think we're actually working from within dist. So once I get the structure done, we should be able to work through part of the first section at the very least. So I just need to get this sort of wired up first of all. Let's go back home. There we go. Variables, yep. That didn't work. Data types, no. No, we're in variables. Right, fundamentals, data types, yes. Control structures, yes. HTML and JavaScript, yes. And I don't like the way that's squished together. That should be HTML and JavaScript. Let's put a lowercase a on there. Events. Okay, let's go back to here. That should have changed. Yep, HTML and JavaScript. That works. Events. Yep. Dates. Yep. Regex. Okay, good. So the next thing I want to do is then copy that to the other slides. So the first one is variables. Now I've got a feeling now we're in the other, if you think of it, we're in another working directory. So I've got a feeling we need to do we need to go back a level on all of them, I believe. In fact, what I could do, actually, just to save a bit of time, is I could load up the PHP object design patterns course and just have a little noodle in here and see how that is wired up. If we go to the command here, yes, it is. Can you see it's // apart from the one that it's currently on, and then it's just okay, gotcha. All right, so this is going to take a little bit of fiddling, so just bear with me whilst I hack through it. So that's fine, that's fine. We are in variables, so that just needs to go back to the index. However, I think that should just work as well. Okay, HTML, events, dates, and regex. Okay, good. So, okay, that is variables. We'll try regex here. We'll try HTML and JavaScript. We will try events and dates and data types. Yep, and control structures. And yeah, I think that should cover it. All right, let's see. Let's go home. Right, variables, yes. Data types, yes. Control structures, HTML, JavaScript, events, dates, and regex. Wonderful. Of course, if we go home and then we go to the next one, we should be able to jump through these as well. So yeah, that does work. I think what I would like to do, I don't know how I would do this in MARP. I think I might have to write an extension for this, but it would be nice to highlight the one that you're on. That would be nice. So you know, so it is actually more of a website, you know. So you get sort of some sort of color to indicate where you're at. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all, we're going to go into the next concept. We're going to go into the next thing here. Concept, come on. There we go. Right, so we've got concept, and there's also going to be a real world example. All right, let's bring that up. So that was in control structures. Let's see if I can just copy all of this over to the other slides here. I think I missed that one out. Wonderful. Okay. Okay, so if I go to the variables, then the first thing here is the concept. So talking about the concept of a variable, and then we have real world examples. Much like if we go to the HTML, there is the concept and real world examples, and say dates. But of course, if we go back to the notes here, we can see that there is there's certainly far more. There's assignments, operators, and scopes. So let's just copy these. So let's go back to variables. So we're going to do assignments. What did I say it was? Assignments, operators, and scopes. So go back to variables, assignments, operators, and scopes. I'm starting to think that maybe we need to have scopes after the assignment, and then the operators at the end. Maybe. Okay, let's just work through the others just to as we're here. So we're in data types. We're going to have that's dates, data types. Where am I? Data types, control structures, data types. Here we go. So that's going to be strings, numbers, arrays, and then in here we've got a subsection, I guess you could call it. It is arrays. Whoopsie. Creating arrays. There's another one which is popping arrays. This is pushing arrays, deleting arrays. Next one is splicing. And then after that, we've got joining. Wonderful. Whoops. That's not good. There we go. Right, save that. Right, so let's see if we can go back to data types. So we've got strings, numbers, and then arrays. And then we have a subsection of creating arrays, popping arrays, pushing arrays, deleting arrays, splicing arrays, joining arrays, and so on and so forth. I'm going to have subsections for strings, and I'm going to have subsections for numbers as well when I get to it. I'm just, at the moment, I'm just sort of trying to create the structure of this, and then it will be a case of trying to fill in the gaps. Okay, so more tea. Right, index. Let's go back to the notes. We have objects. This is actually a humongous section, isn't it? I need to think about this a little bit. Maybe it would be worth breaking up this section into smaller sections per type. Again, we have objects. I may have to do this because I have an idea in a minute that I will demonstrate on how. Is that gonna? Yeah, on what I would like to do with all of these things. So properties with these quote unquote subsections. I think I will deal with the accessing properties when we're there. So I think what I'll do, yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, then we have the references. Boo, 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 boo. Okay, right. I'm going to just stop there for a minute because what I would like to do, is when we get to this thing here, I would like to make a. First of all, I want a slide that will just introduce data types, and then I would like to have a slide, much like the homepage here. I'm just going to grab that. In data types, and in data types, I would like to have links to the various things. So I should be able to hopefully do this using the anchor points. So I should hopefully be able to do strings, right? Same with numbers. I'm hoping this was working. I haven't tried this at all in the design patterns course, whether the anchor points do actually work. Is it anchor? Yeah, it is an anchor because it's the same thing. Right, okay. And then what I would like to do in the array section, as well as all the other sections as well, is have a subsection, so you can actually see it. So I'm just looking here as how that works. Is it? There we go. Arrays. So it's, there we go. So we've got creating arrays. That would be creating hyphen arrays, I think. Then we've got popping arrays. We've got what popping arrays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's bring them all back into some sort of order. Okay, so we start with creating, then we're doing popping. Then we've got pushing. Then we have pushing, then we've got deleting here. Then we have splicing and joining. Splicing. Oh, no, that was deleting, sorry. It's here, splicing. And then the last one is joining. Now I just want to see how big this is actually going to be on the page, because I would like to have subsections for all of these data types, and I really don't think I'm going to be able to fit them all on one slide, to be honest. I'm thinking I might have to break this up, which is a shame. But let's go back to here. So we got strings. So can you see now we've got 16 slides. Numbers, arrays. Now, creating arrays, popping arrays. Okay. Why did that not... If I go right back to the start. Okay, here we go. So yeah, can you see it's getting quite big now? So I wonder if we need to have like a section just on arrays, a section just on numbers, a section just on strings. I think that's probably wise. But I want to just see, can I click on that? That goes straight to the fundamental data type, so that doesn't go anywhere. All right, let's see. Can I go to popping arrays? What does that look like here? It just says index 7. So I need to know the position of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's frustrating. All right, so I'm going to need to create a slide deck just for arrays, strings, and numbers, and then eventually JSON and other bits. Oh, okay. No worries. We can get around that. That's fine. Let's do... I'm going to rename this to be data type. Data types array. Well, no, data type string first. And then what I'll do is I'll copy that, paste that in, and we do data type array. Change the remove the S off of that. So data type array, data type string. We're gonna have data type number, and we're going to have data type thinking. We're going to copy that. So we've got arrays, numbers, strings. We need JSON, don't we? We need objects. Come on, paste that in. Paste that in, and that will be object. And we're also going to have just data types, because I think the data types itself is going to be the thing that links to, because I don't think I'm going to be able to put anything else in the footer. So I think this will be a link to those. So we've got arrays, we've got objects. So this will be something like this, I think. So with strings, that's going to be data type string. That is going to be data type number. We'll check all of this in a minute. This is going to be data type array. And this will be data type object, I think. And we can get rid of all of this stuff, because essentially this slide is a jump off, I guess. So if we go back to, say, data types here, and then we go over to here, we can see that we have strings, numbers, arrays. So let's see. If we go to strings, that goes to data type. This should be, this should now be strings, data type. Where are we? Where are we? Where'd it go? This one here. We can do data types colon string. And then that will be the table of contents, I guess you can call it, for the particular strings. Wonderful. So that should be string, yeah, and then that will be the table of contents for the strings. So here we could have, I don't know, creation or what have you. I'll work through it. Data types isn't something that we're jumping on at the moment. I just want to get the structure sort of sound. Then what do? We do data types object. So data types, let's do numbers. That should go to data type numbers colon number. Remove that and remove that and remove all of those. Okay, cool. Go back to data types. Now we go to arrays. So we're in arrays here. So this is data type array. We can remove those, and now we can do all of these things. So creation, popping, pushing, deleting, splicing, joining, and anything else we want to do more of. So that's quite a nice sort of setup, I think. So let's remove all those, and also remove everything after, so the objects and so on. So that should go as well. Okay, so going back here, we now have array, and we have all of these. I think what I'm going to do is just cut off the word arrays, because there's no need for that. It's all about arrays. It's just duplicated words, isn't it, at the end of the day? Okay, so if we clicked on, say, one of these things, where do we go? We go straight back to the start. That's not what I want to do. I want to go to creating. So technically that is hash 4. So if we go to, whoops. So if we go to here and type hash 4 in, will that jump to that page? That is the question. Let's hit save. Let's go back to data types, then click into there, go into arrays. For data type, sorry, arrays, and then click on here. Right, I want to go to creating. Yes, creating an arrays. That works. I'm so happy with that. That's cool. So we kind of like almost got our sub menu, and I'm guessing that because this is in order of the slides, this should be 5. That should be 6, 7, 8, and then 9. So we'll just we'll try that out. So let's go back one to here. Let's do deleting. Yes. Let's go back, and going back jumps forward. Okay. Yeah. No problem. I mean, it's not going to be it's not going to be. I mean, this is a slide deck, so it's not going to be like an exact website, but we can get it close enough. Okay. Cool. What's the time? 15:12. No problem. So let's see. We've got the home. We've got all of these set up with regex, dates, events, JavaScript, and control structures, data types, which have its own submenu in here. And then that has its own sort of submenu as well. It would be nice to have some way of going back to that as well, but wishful thinking maybe, I don't know. So obviously there's a lot more to these things. So I guess this stream is more about getting this up and running, and then sort of filling it out as I go. So let's take a look at the slide that we want to be playing with today, which is variables. That's what I want to be playing with. We click on variables, which is here. We've got assignments, operators, and scopes. Now the beauty with MARP is, of course, you can use syntax code blocks in here, which is really nice. I think what I'm going to also do is I'm going to have, instead of, I'll have the final thing as real world examples. I really want to do this real world, because I don't want to just go, this is how you create variables, and then not actually have any kind of, or this is how you splice arrays, and not actually have anything to show as a real world example. Real world example. I think that's probably a good idea. And this will be going off to the code, which will go into sections, which will go into here, and then we'll have the actual example. Hello, Tyrannid. Thank you very much for joining. Hello. My tea's already gone cold. That's not good. So what we're doing today is we are slowly but surely working on the JavaScript Fundamentals course that I've been banging on about for the past however long. And we're using the MARP tool again to work through the slides. We've just built a bunch of slides and sub-slides, I guess you can call it. So if I go back to here, we can see that we have, the JavaScript fundamentals. We go on to the next page and we have the list of the sections that we're going to cover, and also this sort of footer menu down here as well. And then what we can do is we can click through these and we'll see the assignments, the operators, the scopes, and then the real world example. That will be a link to the HTML page. And then we've got data types, and in data types we've got strings, numbers, and arrays. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a submenu for the different functions that I'm going to be talking about, or the different behaviors that one has when they are using arrays, or when they are, say, using objects or numbers or strings. So it's kind of like a subsection. And then we've got the control structures, and then the HTML and JavaScript, the events, the dates, and the regex. So that's pretty much what I've just thrown on the page at the moment. Based on the notes that we were taking the other week, just sort of going through it all, I'm going to leave things like the conclusion and the introduction. I think they're going to be solid single videos that I'm just going to do rather than slides. However, I'm talking about JavaScript history in the intro and ES5 and ES6. There might be, and also debugging tools, there might be things that I want to display on the page, such as logos of the tooling, the history I might do as a markdown table. That would be good, maybe. I don't know. So but I think I'll tackle the introduction and the conclusion sort of at the end. One thing I've learnt when working with people like Manning and Pact is that the introduction you do right at the end, because if and I've been caught out with this, you do like an introduction, a first draft, and then you kind of like you have to tweak it because the course is altered and changed, and you've come up with a decision months in the course that has changed the introduction. So the introduction is usually the last thing one does, and the conclusion rounds it up as well. So hey, Tyrannid, that is an awesome emoji. Like it. Father Christmas. He is coming down to what's he? I was going to say he's coming down. Well, yeah, North Pole. He's coming down from the North Pole. Yeah. I'll be quiet. I'll just get on with the code. Pete, just get on with the code. That's all. Okay, let's do the variables. Assignments, operators, and scopes. And the real world example is going to go over to here. So we've got sections and then the variables here. So in the real world example, I want to demonstrate all of the three things together, I think. And that's probably how I'll tackle the other lot. These are all empty, of course. And then we've got the projects, the image carousel, and the form validation as well. I'm thinking that, what I'll do with the actual course is supply all of this to the student, so they can click through and they can run all of this stuff. So this is the end product I'm kind of building, right? Okay, so let's go back to the slides for a second with variables. So this is going to be the first screen that I'll introduce variables. I'll say what they are. And then we'll crack on into the assignment. So this is assigning variables. So there's many ways of assigning variables. The two common ways, well, when I say there's many ways, you could be using concatenation, you could be assigning them dynamically. I don't think I'm going to go into that depth, but the two fundamental common ways is to either assign a variable from, assign one variable like var length is equal to, 10, right? Or you could, if you wanted to, you could assign multiple variables altogether using the comma. So you would have length is equal to 10, comma, width is equal to 20, something like that. Something like that. So let's see. In here, we can come up with some. Do I have JavaScript on here? I do. Wow, that's great. Awesome. I didn't realize that. Cool. Yeah. So what you could do. I'm just going to grab. And JavaScript is less fiddly when it comes to formatting. I'm going to use what I just said, length and width. So we're going to do var length is equal to 10. So that's the first way one would do it. And what I'll do, I think what I'll do is I will comment how this works. So we've got scope, then we've got variable name, variable underscore name, then we've got equals, then we've got value, and then we've got semicolon. So that is kind of how you should, to remember it. It is the scope, which is that, the variable name, which is this, the equal symbol, and then finally the semicolon. Whoops. So I guess what I could do is I could have one. So what I want to do is I want to break this up. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5. So one would do if this was, so we could have underscore variable name here. Then we could have value, right? Just to make it a little bit more of a concept. And then we have the semicolon. And I think as I do this, I will highlight that is the scope, that is the variable name, that is the equal sign, that is the value that you're assigning, and then that is the semicolon. Let's see if that looks, what does that look like in here? There we go. Okay, now, so that's assigning assignments. So let's do, can I do single value? Okay. So let's create a new slide. 1, 2, 3. And this is assignments. This is multiple values. I think I'm going to, after I do all of this, I'll go through everything and make sure that everything is like follows some sort of convention and sort of casing. So assignment multiple values. So what we would do here is we would break that up, and we would have scope variable name equals the value, and then we would have another one here, which is comma, and then we would have repeat 2 to 4. And the way that would look like, whoops, that needs to be in backticks, doesn't it? It would look a little bit like 1, 2, 3. var backticks again. I'm going to always forget these, aren't I? JavaScript. So we've got var, we've got length is equal to 10, comma, and then we've got width is equal to 20. And you can repeat and repeat and repeat, and they will all have that scope. I don't think I can fit that. It's a shame here. Let's see. I might be able to squeeze it in. Sort of. Now, if I followed convention, then that would be a secondary JavaScript secondary thing. That kind of works. That kind of works. I mean, this will go away. I think it's only there because I'm hovered over it. Is that going to go away? Yeah, that'll go away. So I think that's okay. So that explains the single values and then multiple value assignments. As Abandon has mentioned, some repos in JavaScript don't use the semicolon. That is a very good point. I will note that semicolon is not always mandatory. Very good point. I will put that in. Yeah, that's a very good point. There we go. It's optional. Yeah. I don't like the way these are. The secondary headings are huge. Have I screwed something up here at all? Does that need to be like it's just coming? It's the same. I guess because we've got CSS, we can actually manipulate that. I just want to make that gap a bit smaller and make this a little bit smaller. It just looks a bit huge. have we got? We do have the ability to do that, don't we? Because we do have in slides, in assets and CSS, we do have the CSS, and I think I can take a look and see what that is. Sort of. H2, H1. Yeah. So the font size of that is 117. So I might have to. Yes, that's very true. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Let's do a H2 and see if I can nab that down. So H2, we're going to do a font size, and I think I saw it as 1.7. So let's see if I can just change that here and go 1.1. Yeah. All right. Fine. Font size is 1 EM, and it's also the well, it's the margin on the H1. I think is huge. H1. This isn't any tailwind, I'll tell you that. Margin top is 0. Font size is 2. Margin here is 30. Let's change that to 20, 10, 0. 0 is okay. Let's try that. JavaScript, now it's tiny. If that was slightly smaller, so if that was, say, font size of 1.5, there we go, that's slightly better, isn't it? It's a little bit more. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get annoyed when so if I'm importing a module that someone else has written, like a package or something, and they don't follow the same conventions as what I'm following, then my IDE has a little freak out, and it's like, you know, on the right hand side of the IDE, it's got like these sort of amber warning lines, and if you open up a JavaScript file and it's just got that covered, it's really like hard to work out what is an error, what isn't an error. I mean, there's the errors are usually in red, but it just gets a bit annoying. Consistency is a key, and you know, it would be nice to have some sort of agreement as to what to use. Yeah. Okay, so that's JavaScript Fundamentals. That is the single and the multiple values. I just feel like I should be talking about scopes before I talk about operators. I think it's like chicken and egg, really. Data types is coming after this in the next section. This is actually I guess one could argue the smallest of the sections. Yeah, I think it is key. I think it's key because it kind of lays down the I think also I think also as a good example, I think what I'll also do is I'll demonstrate the craziness of JavaScript. So let's go to say craziness of JavaScript. JavaScript's not crazy, it just makes you crazy. If you do something like I think I'm going to put in a section here called formatting. I think. So what I'm thinking here is that if I was to take that, for example, well, actually, let's take this one, for example. That's probably the best one. That could be all the way over here. Also, if I was to take this, that could be there. We could also have depth is equal to 15, like that. They are all valid. Let's just see if I've killed the formatting. Yeah. So these are all valid ways of assigning variables, and it drives me bonkers when I see things like this. But yeah, Wild West stuff. Now, do I talk about sticking on? I'm just kind of, I know there's more to variables than this, but should I talk about things like multiplications and mathematics and concatenation at this point? Maybe I should do that later, but what I'm thinking is, like, you could, let's just throw a section in here. I'll tidy this up in a minute. Let's say, for example, we wanted to do, I might have to do this afterwards, but with JavaScript you can do like var length is equal to 10 plus 5 plus 20. Now the output of that is 20, 30, 35. So you can, if you wanted to, write variables like that. Oh, I need to put these in. Likewise, you can also do, and I'll put in another thing here. You can also do, and I'm going to get this wrong. Concatenation. Is that the right spelling? No, it's not. I'm going to have to Google that. There we go. Where you've got, say, name is equal to, say, Peter Fisher. And the amusing thing here is that that is an addition. This is concatenation. That is quite confusing. Peter Fisher. So maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll do that after I touch on scopes and operators right at the back. So let's see if I can grab that and put that under here. So first of all, we talk about variables and what they are. Then we talk about, how to do single assignments. Then we talk about multiple assignments. Then we talk about the formatting that one could have. And then we talk about scopes. Oops, something's not right here, is there? Scope. Do we go straight to scopes? No, we don't. That should be right. Let's start that again. Formatting, then operators, then scopes, then additions, then concatenation, and then a real world example. So I think I'm going to do scopes before I do operators. And I guess also with variables. Oh, JavaScript, you're such a lovely language, aren't you? What about things like, what happens if you add an array to an array, or an object to an object, that kind of thing? What happens if you add one to a string? All of those lovely things that that can set your application on fire if you do it wrong. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get to the scopes. So with scopes, there's three of them. There is var, there is let, and there's const like that. Var, let, and const. Now, I think I'll talk about, well, as I've used var, I think I should start with var, and then I should probably move on to let, and the const is the it's the const. Magic mouse, stop doing that, please. Then the const is the consistent one, right? It's the one that you can't change after you set it. Let is all about, you can't. It's all about within the scope, whereas var isn't. Thank you very much, the Smoldering Sheep. That is such an awesome name. How do you guys get your names? The Smoldering Sheep. Thank you very much. We've got, say, 20 minutes before we... Oh, sorry, I nearly headbutted the microphone. We've got 20 minutes before we head into the Discord server and have a little conflab. I'm actually thinking about calling these town hall meetings. So if you don't know, if you've just joined... what we're going to do after this stream is we're going to go into the Discord server and have a conversation, a talk amongst everybody on the Discord server who are pro users. And you can become a pro user by either being a Twitch subscriber or being a Patreon. And you get the access to both the pro user Discord channel as well as the voice chat channel, and it's going to be the first ever time we have a voice chat. So I'm actually going to be speaking and listening to the pro users. Never has that happened before, and I'm really dead excited. That's going to happen at 4, which is in about 20 minutes time. And beforehand, I'm going to grab a cup of tea. So I'll do that probably at, let's say, 5 to 4. So that gives us a few minutes. So I'll see if we can crack through this before that. But if you do want to be on the Discord, then either be a Twitch subscriber or go to this link here, and you can become a pro user via Patreon. But I should say Discord, the other channels, the coding challenges, the coding help, the new coders, the dev pets, if you want to see pets that do that with developers. What other channels have we got? We've got loads of others, haven't we? We've got the Who Am I channel, various other channels. They're all free. So do consider joining, especially if you've got any questions. I was sent a comment the other day on YouTube. I shouldn't poke fun, but it was like, unfortunately, YouTube doesn't allow for Markdown. So actually asking me questions in terms of technical questions is very difficult because the YouTube commenting system is rubbish. There, I've said it. So with Discord, it's fantastic because you can write code blocks using backticks, and you can send links to places like portfolios or paste bins or REPL posts or GitHub gists. So that would be cool. Thank you very much, Parcel ticked. Thank you very much for following. Do appreciate that. Vars, lets, and const. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. So, okay. Thank you very much, the Western guy, for following. Very nice of you. Thank you. Okay. Let's deal with consts last. Let's then move on to, and then let's do let's second, and I guess var is the first one. So an example, I guess what a good example of the differences would be that you could do with variable with vars. Again, get into the JavaScript block, Pete. Thank you. You've got var, you've got length here. We're going to have 20. And we're going to reset var length is equal to 30. Now that works because that should return 30, right? However, you can't do that with lets because it's already defined. You'll get an error. So that works. That's good. That's because it's in the scope, the global scope. I guess I should write that down. The keyword there being global. Global scope. Global scope. We are in scope. So I tell you what. Let's do var is equal to global scope. That would make sense. Global scope. Which means that you can override it globally because it's in the global scope. Let's just see, how did that pan out? Oh, yeah. Global scope. I might put in some comments here. Variables. No. Pete can't spell. Pete can't spell. Variable. Wow. Don't copy and paste, kids. It'll break your app. Variables in the global scope can be overwritten in the global scope, I guess. Can be overwritten because, yeah, can be overwritten. I guess that makes sense. Can be overwritten. I guess I really need to talk about what scopes are, don't I? You know, what is a scope? I mean, I just said that this is a global scope, but really, what is and how do I do that? So you've got lets, which are it's the scope where it's been called in. So if you're doing it in a function, for instance. The Western guy, thank you very much for asking that awesome question. Just joined the stream. What you're working on? I am working on a JavaScript course that I am producing for next year. It's a JavaScript Fundamentals course. So the course will be teaching the very fundamentals of JavaScript, and the course is. So if I go to home. Let's not press that button, Pete. That'll break it. If I remove that. So we've got the JavaScript fundamentals. I'll be covering all of these topics. And at the moment, we're working through the variables. So we're going to talk about assignments, multiple value assignments, the crazy world of formatting. And then we're now talking about scopes. And then after scopes, we'll deal with operators. And then I'm going to talk about additions and concatenation. And then after that, we'll move on to the data types, and there's a lot of data types. Then control structures. All of these are from the notes that we made on the other few streams ago. And I'm using this fantastic tool called MARP for doing that. So it's converting markdown files into slides. Once I do a section, I'm also going to go up here and I'm going to actually create a real world example, much like we've done with the design patterns. So with what I'm going to be doing next, what day is it? It's Sunday. So next Tuesday, I will be continuing on with our PHP design patterns course. This is another course that I'm doing, hopefully for next year. And that's in PHP. We've covered an awful lot of design patterns already. There's still a load of design patterns left to go. But it's following the same sort of like MARP structure where you've got slides, and then the slides get generated and get converted into HTML files. The difference between this course and the other course, of course, is that this, of course, is that this course is it's a JavaScript course, which means that I can actually link to the examples and link from the examples back to the slides and so forth, which is fantastic. Can't really do that with a PHP course unless the local server is running. So I'll have to put that in the notes somehow as to if you want to get this to work. Click on this link, but make sure you have the local server running, which is php-s. Yeah, cool. So we haven't managed to get to our real world example yet. I've got 5 minutes left of the stream before we dive onto the Discord server. And I've totally forgotten what I was doing. It was variables, wasn't it? It was variables, and it was, here we go, variables. And it was the global scope, talking about the global scope. In the global scope, variables can be overwritten. Variables in the global scope can be overwritten. Yes, they can. Do I have any plans to create a course on Devops? Wow. Okay, so on the YouTube channel, which I will send you a link to, I think it's this one. If not, you'll get a... There we go. So on the YouTube channel, there are about, I want to say 400 videos on there. For the past, say, 3 years, I've been creating tutorials on all sorts of random, I wouldn't say random, all sorts of things, including Docker. So Docker is, I guess it's a DevOps tool, I guess. Building containers, images, and stuff. I've also got courses in Pact. I've also done courses, I should say, for Pact and Manning publications. I've done a course for Pact, which is a Docker in Motion. These are all in the channel at the bottom, in the links at the bottom. So the Docker in Motion is a 6-hour course that will teach Docker. That's from Manning. And then with Pact, I've done a Python microservices course that also uses Docker and, of course, Python, and it uses Flask. Again, that's linked below. And then I've also got a Python clean coding course as well, which isn't DevOps, I know, but I'll just plug that anyway. So the links are at the bottom for those. These courses that I'm doing on Twitch, however, they're my courses. These are courses from the How to Code Well. These aren't courses that I'm doing for another company. Yeah, not that I've got a problem with that. I mean, I should say, just in case anybody's watching from one of those publication companies, I do not have a problem. I love you to bits. All right, so let's see if I can dig a bigger hole. Okay, so we've got variables in global scope can be overwritten. There we go. Okay, I really want to sort of demonstrate what is a global scope and what isn't a global scope. I think we can do this using functions. Like, for example, and I don't know if this is going into too much depth right straight away, but what I would like to do is say this is a function. We're going to call this, I was going to say foobar then, but based on my comment earlier on the Discord channel, I shouldn't be calling anything for foobar. Let's do function get length, right? And then this would be, let's do var length is equal to 5. Let's do set length. There we go, set length. And then up here we got var length is equal to, say, 10. So calling length. So if we did console.log length, this will return keyboard madness. This will return 10, right? However, if we do set length, right, and then we do console.log length, that will be 5 because we've called it and we've overwritten it. So this here would be the global scope. Why am I shouting global scope? Don't put this in capitals. And then this would be function scope. I mean, there's other things as well. I'm not sure if I want to do that straight away because now I'm adding loads of things to the mix, including like this is what a function looks like. This is what you can do to console.log. So I'll leave it, but I'll come back to it, I think. But I think I need to talk about what a scope is. And I think really I need to do this sort of here. And I think I'm going to do global versus functional scopes. And then under this, I need to check whether this works, on the slides. We're going to have var. All right, let's see if that works. So go to variables. So we've got the assignments, we've got the multiple values, we've got the formatting, scopes. Okay, that kind of works, doesn't it, in that sense? So we've got global scope and function scope. And then we can define the scopes themselves. So let's do here. We are declaring scope assignments. Declaring scopes. There we go. Declaring scopes. And then we have the example of var, which is here, isn't it? So in fact, that I think that makes sense a little bit in my head. You know what I don't like about this, just in the slides, is that when I put something in the mid, if I just have a H1, it's going to put the H1 right in the middle. What I would like to do, can you see that that's up there, that's down here. What I would like to do is have, and I might just spend a bit of time playing with this off stream, is have like in the CSS a common place for the heading. I think that would be nice, and not center everything, because look, that's centered, and I don't like that. It would be nice to have like defined width, maybe, because it doesn't look good with the eyes there. You're having to go from here all the way to there. Yeah. And I can imagine if I was to use, I haven't used MARP with Python yet, and I would imagine with Python it would get quite confusing if the width of the box, the code block, was bigger and smaller, meaning that it's the indentation would be different. Anyway, I've rabbited on quite a bit, and I am going to save all of that. I think I'll have to get back to the lets and the consts afterwards, I think. But I think it's going really well. I'm going to dive off and grab a cup of tea because in 2 minutes' time, ish, I'm going to say ish, peeps, because my kettle's quite slow. I'm going to get onto the Discord server and we're going to have a conversation and we're going to chat about how things are going, and we're going to introduce each other and say hello to everybody who's the pro user, which is going to be awesome because we've never done that before. That's fantastic, and you can do that by going to the Discord server here, and you either become a Patreon, or if you're a Twitch subscriber, you will get access to the pro user voice chat channel. So without further ado, I'm going to dive off, get a cup of tea, and then I'll be back on the Discord server, and we'll be speaking to one another for the first time. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? Just having a look at the comments. Jay Whisked, thank you very much. That's awesome, man. That's great. Thank you very much for letting me know. Do join the Discord server, and there's a coding help, and there's a new coders channel there as well. So if you want to ask questions to fellow new coders, you can do in a nice sort of friendly environment. But also if you've got code that you want to have help with, then there's the coding help channel there as well. But anyway, thank you ever so much for watching, everyone. I will be on the Discord server in a few minutes. I'm just going to dive off and grab myself a cup of tea. Let's go into this mode here. I'm going to grab a cup of tea. So I will see everybody who's a pro user hopefully in the next few minutes. Thank you all for joining, and thank you ever so much for following. Happy coding, everyone. I'll see you again in a couple of minutes. If not, next Tuesday on the next stream, where I will be doing PHP. Speak to you soon. Thanks very much. Happy coding. Bye-bye.